Happy Sunday and welcome to day 6 of Newsmas. Today I'm going to be talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs again and Garrett Sparks and the rest of the goaltending team for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Toronto Marlies. So last week I talked about Garrett Sparks in his NHL debut when he got a shutout, and I'm going to talk about the game after that and the game last night as well. So his first game was amazing, and then his second game was not so good. They scored 6 goals on him, and we lost very badly. I had a feeling this was going to happen because he had such a high during the first game, and then the second game came, and he had so much pressure on him to do well again, and I knew things weren't going to go well, and they didn't go well. It was really unfortunate. Then Reimer came back for one game, and he played well. They lost 1-0, but it was a really close game. And then last night, they won again, and Garrett Sparks was in net. But this goaltending situation's a little bit weird because Reimer played the last game, and then Garrett Sparks was in net again for this game. So Reimer had an injury, and he thought he was better, and then he played, and he realized that he wasn't better. And then, more on the goaltending stuff, they sent Jonathan Bernier down to the American Hockey League. So they sent an NHL goalie to the AHL. So they sent him for 10 days down to the AHL to see how he was going to do playing in net for them. And he played with them, the Toronto Marlies, and he got a shutout, actually, which is kind of strange. I don't really understand. So since Reimer was hurt and Bernier is down in the AHL, we have no NHL goalies playing in the NHL right now. We have an AHL goalie, Garrett Sparks, and then we have another AHL goalie for the Toronto Marlies who is back in the NHL playing as his backup. So it's kind of crazy because Jonathan Bernier played in the AHL and there's no backup, so they ended up signing the Zamboni driver as the backup goalie because all the AHL goalies are currently in the NHL playing for the Leafs. So that was really funny. So Garrett Sparks played really well last night. We ended up winning the game, which was really good. But this whole goaltending situation with the Toronto Maple Leafs is kind of freaking crazy. It's so silly that we have no NHL goalies playing right now for us. We have an NHL goalie playing in the AHL, and we have an NHL goalie who's injured. And we have 2 AHL goalies playing in the NHL. So 2 AHL goalies are backing each other up, and the one NHL goalie is being backed up by a Zamboni driver. I'm not really sure what they're planning on doing with that after that one game, because that was just sort of something that happened because they said that Reimer was hurt, and then they had to call him up right away, so then they had really no choice. They had nothing to do, so I'm sure they'll do something other than a Zamboni driver. They'll probably call someone up from another league to back up Jonathan Bernier. So he got a shutout in his one game with the AHL, the Toronto Marlies, and Garrett Sparks got a shutout, then lost horribly. Then Reimer played, and then Garrett Sparks played again last night against the Blues, and he won. That was a really good game. They scored on the very first shot they had on him, but other than that, he played solidly and did not let in another goal for the whole rest of the night. So the Leafs won, and you could tell everyone was very proud, and he was happy, obviously, to not have lost horribly again like he did the second game that he played. It was a bit of a nightmare, that one was. But it's been crazy to see what the Toronto Maple Leafs have done with their goaltending situation, because obviously they have always been wanting a starter, but they haven't been able to get one. And now they're stuck with AHL goalies as their goaltending people. It's crazy that such an expensive NHL franchise is left with such unfortunate and unsteady goaltending. I mean, I hope one day they can find a starter, and maybe that Reimer comes back and he stays solid for a whole season, because he never seems to do well for a whole season. He always gets hurt somewhere in there, and it's really unfortunate, actually. But with Sparks playing okay last night, hopefully him and Bebo can be able to hold down the fort while Reimer gets better, or while Bernier comes back and maybe plays well. So that is all I have today for Newsmas on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Toronto Marlies. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series. Happy Sunday, like I said. I'm wearing my pajamas because it's one of those days where you just don't want to leave bed, you know? So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you tomorrow with the next installment of Newsmas. I'm Alison, and I'm looking for a headline.